Razor Robertson has just announced his 36-man All Black squad for the Rugby Championship, and this turned out to be a much more significant announcement than many of us were anticipating. It's not just that Razor has added some new players, he has actually wielded the axe and made his first cuts as All Black coach. In this video, I'm going to analyze what these changes mean for the short-term and long-term future of the All Blacks, because guys, this is pretty big stuff. Let's get to it. Firstly, the hookers are looking just the same. George Bell is holding down that spot that probably belongs to Samisoni Taukei'aho when he's back to full fitness. Yet, George Bell made such a good fist of his appearance against Fiji, not just scoring a nice try, but really holding up the scrum ascendancy. The scrum didn't really miss a beat when he came on, throwing pretty accurately into the line out, looking good in general play. Samisoni might actually have some work to do to get back into this team. The props are looking very much the same, and Pasalio Tosi clearly nailed his opportunity against Fiji, so he's invited back. Now, the locks are interesting. Scott Barrett actually picked up a finger injury against Fiji. He did get surgery on that, so it looks like he is not going to play the first two tests against Argentina in Wellington and Auckland. We are going to need him back at full fitness for that daunting assignment against South Africa. Back-to-back weeks, altitude and sea level, my God. Let's hope all the locks are fit for that. But just looking at the team here, Razor really had to bring Sam Darry in. Initially, he was sort of listed as an injury backup. Well, now he is a full-blown squad member, and it's going to be tough. Look, this is going to be the hardest area for the All Blacks this year. We already saw it against England. We were vulnerable in the lineouts. Yes, Maro Itoje is the best defensive lineout operator on earth, in my humble opinion, but it ain't going to get easier against South Africa, Ireland, France. So this is going to be a pain point for the All Blacks. What we need is some growth. We need Tupovai to keep making strides. We need Darry to take off pretty quickly. And let's just hope that Patrick Tuipulotu holds together. I feel like he must have been playing on just adrenaline and heart these past weeks, because the guy's knee is torn to shreds. I don't know how he's doing it. It's a pretty superhuman effort, but let's hope that Patrick is feeling a bit better after getting a rest, which is what the All Black coaches gave him. They told him, don't come to San Diego, stay in New Zealand and rehab. Let's hope he's been icing that knee a lot. So just looking at the loose forwards, really happy that Wallace Satiti is still in there. He had to be after his blockbusting performance against Fiji. But you never know. If he hadn't taken his chance, he could be gone. There is a player I'm about to talk about who lost their spot in the All Black squad, probably because they didn't fire. Looking at the loose forwards, pretty much unchanged there, with one major exception, and that is Sam Cane, the former All Black captain, the guy who captained us all the way to a Rugby World Cup final. He is back in there, and this is a big talking point, because Razor Robertson clearly is not a sentimental guy. He picks the team that he thinks will win. Sam Cane is leaving New Zealand next year. He will not be back as an All Black. That poses an interesting quandary for a guy like Razor. Do we win now and maybe give up some gains for the future? Or is there value in having a seasoned campaigner like Cane, who has done it all in rugby, having him there to help us get some vital wins against teams like South Africa, France, and Ireland? I think Razor's gone for the latter. He's realized that, yes, Cane isn't the future, but he can pass on some experience to the young Lucy's coming through. That's going to be invaluable this year. And Cane could just be a difference maker in some of those really tight games. And at the moment, as the All Blacks are building a new identity around this new coaching team, wins are going to help galvanize them and build confidence. So even if Cane is gone next year, there will be a nice residual confidence that comes from us getting some really hard wins. And I do think Cane is experienced enough and is a good enough player to help the All Blacks get up against the best teams in the world. If you don't believe me, just rewatch the quarterfinal against Ireland last year in the Rugby World Cup. Truly his best performance in the black jersey. Phenomenal. So I'm glad to see him in there. Whether or not he gets his 100 caps, I don't think Razor is going to think about that for 1 second. He is going to think about the lessons this guy can pass on, and he is going to think about how he could help us potentially have a better chance of winning against South Africa in South Africa if Cane is coming off the bench or starting. Let's see what he does there. Now, halfback is very interesting. Now, let me tell you something. I have noticed that a lot of you people do not like Finlay Christie. I respect that. Here's what I have observed from the comments that I read, and I do read all your comments, by the way. You think his pass is a little bit labored, and you just don't think he has the dynamism of a Cortez Ratama or a Cam Roigard. And look, I can understand that. Here's my take on Christie. He's a guy that won't let you down. I think on a defensive level, he is very gritty, he is very strong, and I do think he consistently makes good decisions. But this halfback choice that Razor's gone for is a look to the future, and I think it might have shaken things up permanently for the All Blacks. I'm not sure that Finlay Christie is coming back anytime soon. Here's what I'm thinking. TJ Perenara is the most experienced, obviously, so you're going to put his name at the top. And yet I think he could be the most vulnerable, because I think that Razor and his coaching crew have really seen something in Cortez Ratama. There's a heads-up, a live quality to his play. He's playing what's in front of him. He snipes more than Christie. He looks a bit more dangerous with ball in hand. He might have a crisper pass as well. They are liking those attributes in an All Black halfback. And I just think back to a comment that Scott Hansen, one of the All Blacks assistant coaches, made this year. He said, I believe that by the 2027 World Cup, we could have 2 or 3 of the world's best halfbacks. Now, he didn't divulge the names, but I'm starting to think that Cortez Ratama is one of those names. I'm thinking for sure that Cam Roigard is one of those names. And look, when Cam Roigard comes back, I'm not necessarily seeing Noah Hotham dropping out. I'm thinking that Razor is going to take the plunge and keep growing that young fella. He's only 21, but he's got a lot of upside. He's going to keep growing that young fella, maybe at the expense of an experienced veteran like TJ Perenara, who is in his 30s now. So I think we're actually seeing a seismic shakeup in the halfback position, and I'm really fascinated to see how this will unfold. Looking at the first 5/8s, clearly what we're seeing here is that Damian McKenzie is the man. We're going to keep him in the number 10 jersey. Now look, listing Beauden Barrett as the other 10 is a bit of a joke, really. He's come off the bench twice, and he's gone to fullback both times. Is he really the backup number 10? Well, he might be in the Rugby Championship, because you've got to now analyze the outside backs and what's happening here. Will Jordan is in. He's got to be in the team. He's one of the first names you write down. Do you play him at fullback? Well, what's interesting is that Ruben Love, who you know I love, is finally named in the official All Black squad. He is an out-and-out fullback. So now we've got a lot of fullbacks here, because Stephen Perofeta made the cut too. By my count, we've got 4 fullbacks. We don't need 4 fullbacks. I mean, especially when you factor in that Geordie Barrett can drop back to 15 if need be. I mean, and David Havili's in the midfield. I mean, we've got like 6 fullbacks here. So something isn't quite right about that. It makes me think that Beauden Barrett really is going to be backing up McKenzie as a 10 when we play Australia, South Africa, teams where some true gnarly experience running the cutter at first 5 could be the difference maker, right? Because Barrett, yes, he hasn't played 10 internationally in a long time, but he's a double World Rugby Player of the Year in that position. He's got the experience to draw on. You would feel comfortable with him running the ship for the last 30 minutes of a tight game. So I think what we're seeing is that Barrett really might be the backup 10 coming off the bench, or if he starts at fullback, you're going to move Will Jordan to the wing. He's going to be number 14. The 2 wings that I would like to see playing would be, I got to go with Will Jordan and Mark Talea. I think that all these guys in the back 3 are explosive and fast, but Talea just has an elusive quality that really can't be beaten in World Rugby. I think he's at the top of the tree. So that's going to be fascinating. But what do you guys think? Do you think Will Jordan is going to come onto the wing, or do you think he's going to be the fullback with Ruben Love backing him up? It makes me wonder, though, why do you still have Perofeta in there? A very intriguing mix here. Now, of course, the casualty in all this was Amoni Narawa, a pure winger. Look, he didn't really get an opportunity to shine in Fiji, knocked on a couple balls. It was unfortunate. He is a very good player. But I did say when Razor Robertson named his initial squad this year, at some point Amoni Narawa will get squeezed for Ruben Love, just because there's no shortage of high-energy wingers in this squad. But Love has so much upside as a pure fullback, and I think we need to start developing him. I'm just stoked to see him in there, honestly. And while we're on the topic of Love, thank you to those of you who watched my new film, Looking for Dr. Love. I really appreciate the nice comments I've had. Some of you know I'm an actor, as well as being, an All Black obsessive. So anyway, I really appreciate your kind words about the film. Thank you for watching. Back to the squad, though. Let's loop back to the midfielders. The main change here is David Havili comes in. I'm not that stoked about it. Look, Havili has played some great games for the All Blacks. In 2022, in Johannesburg against South Africa, he might have been the man of the match. He had an instrumental performance with his kicking game. I have no problem with his kicking game. I have no problem with his distribution. The issue I have is that his physicality just isn't at the level of a Geordie Barrett or an Anton Leonard-Brown or a Billy Proctor. You look at these other guys running around in the centers. I just don't think he has that crunch. He is a smart, slippery player. He is a good tactical player. Razor knows what he's doing. I'll defer to him. So there you go, guys. That's Razor's team. Comment on what you think. Was anyone hard done by? What do you think we should do with Will Jordan? What do you think we should do with Beauden Barrett? Sound off in the comments. I read all of them, and I can't wait to read them. So hit me up, and we'll talk soon. Take it easy, guys. Bye for now.